Good morning sixth form and good morning colleagues. I should start by explaining that I've installed some very high-tech and futuristic technology which enables me, whilst giving an address like this one, to see through your devices into your own homes. I appreciate that this may generate some criticism and may pose some safeguarding and indeed criminal concerns, but please know that my intentions are honourable. How else can I truly monitor you? How else can I check that you are all clean shaven and abiding by the no coats during the school day rule when you're working from home? On that note, let me just look around. Makit, be quiet, take your coat off. Yuta, behave yourself. Krish, is that an earring you're wearing? Take it out and report to me for your remote detention at 4 o'clock next Tuesday. And Mr. Wheeler, please stop doing that. Sixth form. Whilst I was really pleased to have the opportunity to speak to most of Upper Six last Friday, it was a great sadness to me that circumstances conspired against us so that it was impossible to speak to Lower Six and indeed a number of Upper Six who were away on that day. Last week was the time I wanted to speak to you the most, but was able to do so the least. So I'm very happy to be able to address you this morning, albeit remotely. These are extraordinary times. We've just begun the toughest collective challenge in any of our lifetimes, teachers included. I don't know about you, but to me it feels a bit like we are watching a very far-fetched, dystopian, apocalyptic sci-fi movie, and we find ourselves as characters within it. I don't think there is one right way to respond to all of this, and indeed our responses will be shaped to some extent by our own contexts, particularly our own family environments, all of which will have changed dramatically from the norm already, and will inevitably morph further in the coming days and weeks. I hope that many of you have made good steps towards adapting to this new reality. Regardless, I remain deeply conscious of the impact that everything that has happened in the last week will have had on you, both collectively and individually. From your perspective, recent events must, at least on some level, make you feel deeply unsettled, and as if your worlds have been turned upside down. It's all too much to take in. The unimaginable reality of school being closed indefinitely. The announcement that the major exams which have been your endpoint and goal for 18 months are cancelled. The uncertainty which still surrounds what this will mean for you, particularly regarding university entrance. To say nothing of the troubling thought of what the coming weeks and months will bring for you and your families. So what can I offer by way of advice? Well, firstly, do establish a routine. This will be critical for your welfare and sense of purpose. We're supporting this with high expectations and a remote interface which mirrors the rhythms of the normal school day as closely as possible, but it will be largely up to you to be self-disciplined about this routine. Maintaining a healthy diet is more important than ever, as is high quality sleep, as is physical exercise. You may need to be creative in doing this, but it can be done. For example, you can exercise very effectively inside your own homes if necessary. I also suggest that you reflect on how you use technology. It will become even more essential than ever in the weeks to come, but our new reality will also increase the danger of its overuse and the subsequent negative impact of it. Do you find ways to switch off from social media and to switch off from the news, particularly before going to bed? All that's going on at the moment is captivating and very impactful upon our everyday lives, but the brutality and omnipresence of it all can sometimes just be too much to take. So give yourselves breaks from it. And my final and most important piece of advice is to reach out remotely to friends, family members and teachers. Your teachers and pastoral staff will be checking in on you to see how you're getting on, but please also know that we are absolutely here for you to help in any way that we can during these difficult times. Do not hesitate to get in touch. A quick word about A-levels. I fully empathise with how disappointing and frustrating the whole situation is for you on this front. You will have seen that Ofqual are developing and setting out a process that will provide all students with a calculated grade, which reflects performance as fairly as possible. We still await further details from Ofqual before finalising our own approach to this. Therefore, I'm afraid that I can't give much in the way of concrete detail right now, but suffice it to say that you will have our full support and that we will do our very best to ensure that none of you are disadvantaged by these events. As soon as we hear more, we will communicate further with you. I'm afraid that you will just have to live with this uncertainty for a little longer. My best advice to you on this one is to not dwell too much on what you can't control, but to hone in on what you can and to focus your academic thoughts on completing the work that you've been set to the best of your ability. And now I would like to echo what I said to some of Upper Six last Friday, and to shift the narrative to steer you towards some perspective without in any way wishing to downplay the enormity of what is going on in your own lives. This is hard for you, but you will get through this. Think about our NHS, our wonderful, life-saving paramedics, nurses and doctors, including a number of your own parents, and the personal sacrifices that they are already making and will be making in the coming weeks. Think about the government, the very difficult decisions they are having to make on a daily basis, with lives and livelihoods in their hands. And think of all those who will lose family members in this crisis. And here I would like to shift the narrative once more by emphasising my firm belief that the grittiest of situations bring out the best in humanity. In the long term, I suspect that these events will reset our clocks and force us to re-evaluate what is really important in life. And whilst we are living through this, let us channel our energy into positive and constructive directions. I've been deeply impressed by you as a sixth form over the course of this year, and I really mean that. By your compassion, your willingness to stand up for what you believe is right, your sense of humanity, of altruism, and a shared desire to make the world a better place. And now I appeal to these qualities. Let's think about these questions. What can we do to help? How can we support our doctors? How can we support our own families? How can we support one another? There have been heartwarming tales of community spiritedness in the media. Similarly, I've been deeply uplifted by hearing a number of your ideas about how to help society. How one of your number is going to spend some time driving a food delivery truck to support in getting supplies to those who need it the most. How another of you has been helping take essential medicine around to the elderly and vulnerable in his neighbourhood. How another has been doing his bit to encourage others to donate blood at a time when the country so desperately needs it. And how another has been in touch with teachers to suggest what would be the most helpful and supportive health and well-being advice for fellow students to hear at this difficult time. Please keep thinking of safe ways to help your community and our society which don't put you at risk, and please do let me know of these. I would love to hear of them. And the single most important thing we can collectively do, and about this I feel passionately, is to follow what the government are asking us to do. Stay at home, do not meet up, even with one friend. Think about it. This is significantly more important than your own existence during the coming months and your own A-levels, as crucially important as these things are. I appreciate this is hard and temporarily life-changing, but we know that these measures are for the greater good. And to be honest, staying at home and avoiding friends is nothing compared to the amazing and brutally challenging, physically and emotionally exhausting work that doctors and nurses are doing in the toughest of environments on the front line right now. We all have a part to play. The truth is a stark one, and every single one of us has a responsibility to do the right thing. If you do what you are asked to do, stay at home and do not meet up with one friend in the coming weeks, you will be saving lives. If you, on the flip side, for example, meet up with just one friend, you will have to live with the fact that there is a good chance that you have contributed towards one family, or quite possibly a number of families, losing a loved one forevermore. Is that something you want to live with? I have faith that you will put the lives of others above any of your own short-termism. I have faith that you will put into practice the integrity and the morality that I know that you collectively have. In summary, 3 takeaways from this assembly. 1. Look after yourselves. 2. Don't hesitate to let me or any of your pastoral staff, or indeed any of your teachers, know anything we can do to help during this difficult time. And 3. Do your bit to help society and save lives when your help is needed the most, as it is now. That's all for now. Thank you for listening. My very, very best wishes to you and your families.